Good evening. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting for July 17th, 2025. I'll call this meeting to order. Mayor, will you please call the roll?
Dr. Derek Hunt,
Present.
Victor Mendoza,
Present.
David Brown,
Present.
Dan Mikulinka,
Present.
Rebecca Spears,
Present.
Brian Olguin,
Present.
Ralph Gonzalez,
Present.
Braden Robertson.
Present.
We have quorum.
Thank you. Tonight's meeting is being simulcast via TV 15. Celeste, do you have any announcements?
Yes, we do have one announcement tonight. The City of Victoria is currently looking for 2 planning commissioners. The application is open until the end of July. July 31st is the last day to submit the applications. If you know anybody willing to participate or volunteer, reach out to myself or Julie or the planning office, and we can get you an application to have them submitted in time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So now we're going to citizen communications. If we have any citizens wishing to speak only to the items not listed for a public hearing, if you do, we ask you that you come and you limit your time to 3 minutes if you wish to speak on any item that is not listed for the public hearing. All right, we'll go ahead and close citizen communication, and we'll move to the development items for the public hearing. My first item is the variance request for residential fence and wall material at 902 Joplin Street. May we have the staff report, please?
Good evening, Commissioners. The owners of the property had a wooden fence that had become dilapidated, and they were having issues with a neighbor's dog entering through the wood fence and acting aggressively towards them and their family pets. The owners hired a contractor to erect a fence made of metal R panel, which is not an approved fencing material, as it is a type of sheet metal. The property owners are requesting a variance to allow them to keep the fence constructed of R panel. R panel is a type of sheet metal style fencing, however, does not look like the standard sheet metal fencing. The owner selected this material as it is a higher quality of fencing. The R panel fencing is a dark brown color to resemble wood fencing. The R panel fencing installed provides better security for this property. Staff recommends the approval of the variance, and staff has determined the approval of the variance would not significantly change the existing character of the neighborhood and would not be detrimental to the surrounding lots. The fence adheres to all height restrictions as well as all yard setbacks. The R panel fencing material also provides better safety for the property owners from outside aggressive neighboring animals. And that is all.
Thank you so much. We will now open the public hearing. If anyone wishes to speak on this item, please come forward at this time. You're limited to 3 minutes, please. Be so kind to state your name.
Hello and good evening. My name is Logan Hawes. My partner Cole and I are actually in the process of purchasing 904 Joplin. Property is one that actually shares the metal fence with 902 Joplin, as it was put up prior to 904 being put up for sale. This fence is a huge cause of concern for us, as we believe it to be a safety hazard. The city's ordinances states that fences made of plywood, metal panels, or corrugated steel sheets are prohibited, and we believe that that is in place for a reason. These are the reasonings behind our concerns. On 904's side that we are purchasing, the fence does not touch the ground in many places. The current owner has put up extra fencing and wooden planks to cover the gaps. We own 2 dogs and worry that their paws will get caught underneath the sharp metal edges and be harmed. We also do not want to have to keep unsightly random bits along the fence just to keep our dogs safe, when a properly installed wooden fence would be more than sufficient. There is a telephone pole with a power line centered in the middle of 902 Joplin, 904 Joplin, 103 Timber, and 105 Timber, with the power line being anchored in 904's backyard. If something were to happen and the power line breaks, there is potential that the broken line will land up against the metal fence, potentially electrifying the whole thing. We do not know if this fence is properly installed to mitigate that possibility. It is hurricane season, and this fence is made out of thin metal sheets that are typically used, as I understand, for siding, and there are gaps in between the pieces that are installed. If even one of these pieces break loose, high winds can make it fly, potentially causing property damage and worse, harm to nearby people and animals. A lesser issue, aside from the safety concerns, is this fence is a glaring inconsistency in 904's backyard. Yes, one side of it is brown, but the side on 904 is pure white. As well as the panels being installed at different heights. It is not a consistent height straight across. Again, we believe that the city ordinances are in place for a reason and that they should be adhered to unless there's an extremely good and valid reason, which from our understanding of the situation, there is none. And I also have pictures that I would like to submit if that is possible, taken from 904's side of the gaps underneath the fence.
We don't even have legal here.
Do you have printed pictures?
I do.
Ew. I'm gonna pass it to you. Thank you for your patience, man. First time we had evidence submitted.
No, thank you for considering it.
What we'll do is, right now, as we're looking on and reviewing the questions, I will ask, do we have any direct questions that we would like to ask our speaker?
So you can't ask her direct questions in the public hearing? Everything has to be discussed in discussion once, so you can't have interaction with them that can influence your decisions.
Okay. All right, well, I thank you for the time. We're gonna be looking at this when we get into the committee.
Thank you.
Communication. All right.
Hi, my name is Kim. My backyard backs up between 902 and 904. My concern, every time I've called the city, they have told me it is a safety hazard. We have sat in our backyard and we have listened when it has been really windy and the fence howls. This fence can be picked up from the bottom. It is not secure. My question is it's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be wooden or some other type of metal from what I understand. What's gonna happen when one of those panels gets lifted either by a hurricane wind or just by strong wind and comes crashing into someone's backyard, house, person, animal? Who's responsible for that? It's not, and it's not level, it's not in the ground. You can see underneath from this. The wind can pick it up. So,
In fact, our neighbor had to put some wood at the bottom of it because it would literally, you could hear it banging at night from the wind, picking it up from
So,
the bottom and then slamming it.
there is timber shimmied in between parts of this fence. So if that fence goes, so does the wooden timbers also. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm at 103 Timber, so I'm the house right behind with the pool in the picture there. 902 Joplin, they approached me and said that they wanted to tear down my wooden fence and put up the metal fence. I expressed my concerns. I said I have dogs. I'm afraid that they're gonna try to dig under. You just never know what they're gonna do. Plus, I didn't think that a metal fence was supposed to be allowed in Victoria. I told them to check with the city before they did anything. Kind of got a little heated. In the end, I said, look, why don't you just put it behind my wooden fence, which is what was done. My issues are, I'm not sure it's secured. They put it up in basically a weekend, so I don't think that anything was concreted in the post. I'm pretty sure that it's driven into the ground. I could be wrong because I haven't been back there. Be a question you would want to ask them. The other thing is we've never had dogs, our dogs, go through their fence. Their dogs have came through our fence aggressively. So I'm not sure that it was so much a safety issue on that side. I'm okay if something's done right, but I feel like this fence was thrown up. My understanding is that a family member had a bunch of extra tin from some jobs, and we're just gonna put that up as a fence, which I said absolutely not. My fear is that it was gonna be two different colors. There was gonna be mismatch, which there is white on the inside, brown on the outside, where it's convenient. Plus, our power lines are right there. Metal and electricity doesn't mix. It would be bad if something fell. I offered to split the cost on the fence and give the good side of the fence to their side. I would take the post. That was not an option. So I'm worried about property value, other things like that. Once again, if that's the city ordinance, I don't think there should be an exception for that. It would be something that you would check before you start that kind of progress. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I am the one who resides in 902 Joplin. I did not get bits and pieces of material. It was actually purchased from Amigo Steel Company. There was a contractor that was, hired to do the work. It is cemented in. As far as 904 side, it is actually, I believe it's like 1.5 to 2 feet into my property. Same as the back where I left up the original fencing. I don't know if that fencing is my fencing or if it's his fencing. I just know that I offered to pay half so that we could come. Now, what happened in that incident where the dog broke through, I happen to be outside with my 2 dogs. My babies are 12 and 7, and they've been in my family since they've been born. With that being said, I was sitting outside on the phone, and the dog from the neighbor in the back, the way the panels are, the good side's facing my property, the dog broke through, and then my dogs went to attack. He pulled his dog, but I was by myself, and the 2 dogs just did what their initial reaction was, which was to protect. And both heads tried to go in at the same time. With that being said, that's what kind of initiated the conversation. It did not get heated, it just was, we didn't come to an agreement right away. With that being said, I was just scared for my fur babies, afraid for my grandchildren. I have 15 of them, and didn't want to take any chances of anything happening. As far as them being cemented in, yes, they are. And as far as the panels being unlevel at the bottom, they are unlevel because we got put with the sticker to stop work. And so we stopped. The day that they put the sticker, we stopped it right then and there, and we haven't touched it since. We haven't even put the caps on the piping. The bottom is actually supposed to be cemented in. And as far as the opposite side, I have no control over what it looks like because of the material that it came as. I try to be as natural as possible, keeping it brown and keeping it pretty because I wanted it to match the house, make it look nice because of the property value if we decide to sell in the near future. That's it, thank you.
Thank you. If there's no one else willing to speak at this time, we will go ahead and close the public hearing and open up for further discussion between commissioners.
I have a question. The original fence, you don't know if it's on the property line between both properties, or it's in your property or the neighbors?
Right, I don't know if it's his, oh, sorry. Right, I don't know if it's his fence or if it's my fence. I just know that what was all the way around my house all matches. So from my understanding, that was my fence. That's why I offered to go half and half, because I know it's facing their property, and that was where that stemmed from. But then he said, no, he wanted a wooden fence. I said, that's fine. and I didn't go any further as far as discussion. I just wanted to make sure that if I decided to do it, that I would put it inward to my property just to prevent any issues with the dogs, because literally everybody in our neighborhood has dogs. And just didn't want to have any chances, because a lot of the dogs get loose. And they're big dogs. You know, my dogs are big, but some of the neighbors' dogs are small, so other neighbors' dogs are really big. And you see some of us running down the street chasing our dog because they're so big, and they eat through the wood. They literally push through the wood. And so with that being said, I don't want to take any chances. And so that was why the sheet metal that I chose was the R panel, because I didn't want that like the old barn tin that we have, you know, where they look like, I guess it's corrugated. I just didn't want it to look unnatural, I guess. I wanted it to look as natural as possible, keeping the material that it is. And there's a door where the post in the backyard is. There is a door to access that pole. As far as it being anchored down and all, I don't have anything anchored in my yard, so I don't know anything about all that. I just know that when the fence was tore down, I made sure that it was in my property line. And it's in by I believe it's a 1.5 to 2 feet in.
Thank you.
So the,
No, go ahead.
so this fencing job is not complete, or it is complete?
It was red tagged by the city, so they had a stop work order.
Okay, so there's work to be done if it's approved.
Correct.
Okay.
So, Ms. Celeste, if you could clarify, because I'm trying to remember, my mind is trying to go back to dealing with the UDO and things, before it's fencing and the specifications of material and all those things, if you can remember, what is the certain requirements or the general requirements of dealing
They
with?
are typically opaque, so you're typically looking at wooden fences, cement, masonry style fencing are the approved materials. For commercial within the UDO, the director has discretion for the contractors to submit alternative fencing for and she can approve it or not. With residential, we do not have that discretion for the director to have the material submitted to her at her discretion if she can allow it. Thus, for residential, we have to bring it before the planning commission.
Mm-hmm. You still have a question, Ms. Brown?
Well, my primary concern here is that we've heard from 3 residents and 1 potential resident, and 2 of these people who reside in the area are in disagreement with the fence.
So, one, let me ask this question. Is there deed restrictions in this area? Is it a HOA? Is it deed restrictions? No, okay. And I don't know if your take on this, but unfortunately, we know we have to look at what's safety, we look at her. We can't really go on what it looks like, you know, even if we agree with it, what it looks like, if we think it's beautiful or not beautiful, or well put together. She stated she had a contractor, you know, that's hearsay. We cannot really, you know, go off on that, but I guess the concern is safety. And who, you say is red tagged right now?
Yes, it is red tagged by our department.
And so the variance is to, well, one, let me ask you this question. Surveying of property lines and stuff like that, wouldn't we think that would move into a factor? Because if it's on her property, then, I mean, as long as she passes on the city standards, then she can put whatever she wants there, right?
Yes, and so in between those 2 fences, if she leaves a space, she just needs to realize she will have to maintain that space between the property lines. She is responsible for making sure no weeds, grass, or anything get overgrown within that spacing that they create if she pushes it. So we as a city are looking to make sure it's going to meet the height restrictions and it's not encroaching on any yard setbacks. And typically when we talk about the yard setbacks, that would be the front yard, the side yard, rear minimum. And typically with fences, we typically do not permit fences for residential. But if we do get a generated complaint and our inspectors go out and see that it doesn't match, then we can reg tag that job for that contractor to do. So typically when they start a fence, they're not coming to the city. They may give us a call to ask where the fence is allowed to go. And us as a city will recommend that they either adhere to their survey for their property line and to make sure they're not over.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. What bothers me is that I would think that you're right what the UDO says, but if you're not following, if you're not going to use what it says in there, and that's why we got a variance, why was it even started bothers me a little bit. But
What do you-
I don't like to hear that there's a fence is already up, metal fence is up, and yet we didn't, see, it puts.
And with the fences too, and I don't know the situation, I don't know if they called the city and asked. A lot of the times, we don't get the question on material,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
That bothered me a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, and this one is the after the fact that they got red tagged type of scenario because it was complaint driven and the inspector went out there.
Not to be a pawn, I'm on the fence right now of,
My concern on this is a precedent that we set. So the metal fence is up now, and if we kind of grant the variance, what stops the next person from building a fence and asking for a variance after the fact that it's been red tagged or complaints come in? So it kind of creates, you know, people kind of are just going to build fences of whatever material they want. However, you know, from a security standpoint, you can say, yeah, it's by a power line, it can fall, it can hit the fence, but, you know, there's hurricane fences made out of the same material. So that's kind of, you know, we can't use that.
there's a
but-
God factor.
Yeah, and so my concern would be more of the precedent that we set by approving that variance.
Okay. Let me just make this statement, state this clear. And as we know, as a council, we give a recommendation, for those that don't like the ruling that we may have, then you present it to the city council, who will have the, final say on something being, approved or denied. Yes, welcome back, huh? I don't know, I'm on denial personally, but, I guess we would take we'll go ahead and, ask for a motion on action if we're going to, go with approval or go with denial on dealing with the,
So
variance.
let me ask a question
Okay.
for you. So if we would grant this variance, then I would say if we granted the variance, if this team granted the variance, but then it's got to go to the city council, they can still. Well, would we change our variance that we can have metal fences? You know, that's what, you know what I mean?
Come on, in the UDO or
Yeah, because that's what I was. did
set
you
for
have-
proposal to,
Were you thinking, was the planning team thinking about changing the variance, not the variance, but the
The fencing
code?
material
The code.
with the code?
yeah.
We have not had discussion on finalizing that. We are discussing some potential amendments to bring to y'all next month. We have not narrowed those down yet. But y'all are always welcome to call the office to kind of go one-on-one to discuss those type of amendments before.
I think Ms. Bryan brings a good, interesting point about that, right? Well, this is where you speak and I be silent. So we're looking for a motion, either that we pass for the
I'll make a
variance or
motion to approve the
to
variance.
approve.
Second.
So I have a motion and I have a second to approve. All in favor?
Wait, we have a motion to approve the variance.
Yes.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's 2 ayes.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
All right. We have more opposed than we have passed, so the motion does not pass.
So your next option is you can do a motion to deny the variance, or you can do a motion to approve with conditions, so you choose.
Okay. Well, I don't know what the conditions could be, but I will go ahead and make a motion. Well, I don't need to make I need a motion for those that want to disapprove.
Motion
for
to
the
deny.
variance. Okay, I have one motion. Do I have a second? We disapproving.
Motion to what?
Deny.
To deny. So I have one motion for denial, and I have another second for denial. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Aye, okay. There's more ayes than there are opposes, so motion passes.
So the motion is to deny.
To deny the variance. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next. So now we move on to the consent agenda. There's items on the consent agenda, which is the minutes of the June 26, 2025. We're asking for motions or action to the consent for the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
I have one motion to approve. I have a second motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, other business. We have the monthly development report. May we have the monthly development report, please?
We had a total of 123 building permits in June of 2025, which is less than last year at this time. 132 MEP permits, which is less than last year, and 43,920 permit fees collected, which is less than last year as well. Also in June of 2025, we had 5 minor plats, 4 major plats, 1 site plan, 4 site modification plans submitted, and 1 city council action to approve the variance that we had in May. That's all.
Thank you. All right. Right now we are at our items for any plan. Do we have any items from the commissioners? Anything that we'd like to discuss? Anything? All right. Well, at this time, then we will go ahead and do into adjournment. Seeing there's no other business, I will adjourn the meeting at whatever time it is. 5:42 p.m. Meeting adjourned.